We tend to measure knowledge in facts, data, answers, but wonder that breathless pause before mystery is something else. It doesn't explain, but it opens. It softens the edges of certainty. Could wonder be its own kind of truth? A way of knowing that doesn't need to grasp, only to gaze. Perhaps the heart understands what the mind cannot, and wonder is how it remembers. If no one watches the sunrise, does the sun still rise? In quantum mechanics, particles behave differently when observed, collapsing possibilities into a single outcome. Oat, eat, and 3. But what if this isn't just a trick of measurement? What if observation is woven into the fabric of being? Could reality require a witness to become real? And if so, who or what is watching when we are not? In dreams, strange things happen, time bends, rules shift, the impossible becomes real. But what if this waking life is also a kind of dream? Some thinkers have wondered, what if the universe is imagining itself into being? Not in metaphor, but in fact, maybe every atom, every law, every heartbeat is a moment in a vast, slow dream, and we are the dreamers, and a dream. A forest, a mountaintop, a silent room. Certain staces seem to hum with presence, not noise, but something deeper. They feel aware. Is it imagination, or are we sensing something real? Ancient cultures believed that places held spirits, consciousness, embedded in land and stone. Maybe the earth is not passive but present, and maybe certain places remember. If we have a soul, what is it? Not flesh or bone, not memory or thought, but something else, something that watches, feels, endures. Is it energy, pattern, light, or something that cannot be named in language? Maybe the soul isn't made of anything. Maybe it is what remains when everything else has stripped away the quiet center of what we are. A Zunzet, a poem, a moment of stillness. Beauty touches something in us that bypasses reason. It opens us, softens us. Sometimes it makes us cry. But why? What is beauty really? And why does it reach so deep? Maybe it's not just pleasure, but memory. A reminder of something we once knew, or a glimpse of something waiting beyond the veil. We believe thoughts belong to us, formed in our minds, shaped by our will. But what if some thoughts arrive from elsewhere, unbidden, complete, like radio signals from another place? Could ideas be like clouds passing through the sky of awareness not owned? Just observe. Maybe thinking is less about control and more about listening. Even when life is full, a question lingers. Why? We search stories, symbols, stars for answers, but where does that longing come from? Could it be instinct, like hunger or thirst? Or is it something deeper, a recognition that meaning is real, even if invisible? Maybe the yearning itself is the meaning, the search, not the finding. From spiral galaxies to sacred geometry, from dreams to deja vu, the universe seems to speak in patterns. Are these just coincidences or messages in a language we've forgotten how to read? Symbols have guided humans for millennia in myth, math, and mystery. Perhaps the universe does speak. We just need to remember how to listen. We think of emptiness as absence, cold, dark, silent. But what if the void itself is not dead space, but living potential? Quantum physics suggests even the vacuum as restless, bubbling with virtual particles, trembling with possibility. Ins inserted. Could this nothingness be more than a backdrop? A kind of sleeping presence? Perhaps the void isn't empty at all, just deeply, silently awake. That strange flicker, I've seen this. I've been here. Deja vu. On a doorway, a word, a glance, and time folds in on itself. Is it a trick of memory? A glitch in the brain? Or a glimpse of something deeper, parallel paths, crossing timelines, brushing against one another? Maybe it's not the first time we've lived this moment. Maybe it's just the first time we've noticed. We feel joy, grief, love, fear, and we assume these are private inside our minds, our hearts. But what if emotions reach farther? In some traditions, feeling is a force, like wind or light, subtle but powerful. Could a moment of deep emotion ripple into the fabric of reality? Could love bend the world the way gravity does? Perhaps the universe isn't indifferent. Perhaps it listens. Since the beginning, fire has entranced us. It dances, it breathes, it destroys and gives life. We stare into flames and feel something ancient stir, a memory, maybe, or a dream. But why? Fire is not just heat and light. It seems to live. Maybe we see in it something that mirrors us, always moving, always changing, always reaching toward the sky. Light moves at a constant speed, the fastest anything can go. But near the speed of light, time behaves strangely. It slows, warps, almost stops. Could it be that time itself is folded into light? That every beam of starlight carries not just color, but the shape of time? Maybe to follow a photon is to glimpse eternity, one flicker at a time. We dream in vivid detail, impossible places, lost voices, feelings that feel more real than waking life. But then they slip away. Within moments, they're gone. Why? Why does the mind erase its own creations so quickly? Is it protection? Is it mystery? Or are dreams meant to be like whispers not remembered, but felt like a feather brushing the soul? We use words to shape the world, to name, to think, to share. But what if words are also walls? Some ideas have no names. Some feelings can't be spoken. Could the structure of language trap our minds like a box we cannot see? Maybe there are truths we'll never reach, not because they don't exist, but because our words are too small to hold them. The dark, the deep ocean, what lies beyond death, the unknown makes us tremble even when it hasn't hurt us. Why? Is fear a survival instinct, or is it something else? A reaction to the vastness of what we can't explain? Perhaps the unknown is frightening because it reminds us how much is beyond our control. Or maybe it frightens us because it calls us to change, to grow, to discover. We look at them, we chart their paths, name their patterns. But what if they look back? It sounds absurd. Stars are burning gas, not minds. And yet, there's something about their stillness that feels ancient, watchful. Could awareness exist in a form we don't recognize? Maybe we are not the only ones wondering. Sometimes we're surrounded by comfort, safety, love, and still we feel the ache of homesickness, not for a place, but for something else. What is this longing? A memory from childhood? Or from before life began? Maybe we carry the echo of a home We've never seen a place beyond space where we were whole, and maybe the moon moves oceans with its pull, but it also stirs something in us. We speak of lunacy, of full moons and strange moods. Is it only folklore, or is there truth in the idea that the moon affects the mind? Or locks the heart, the spirit? Maybe it isn't just a cold rock in the sky. Maybe it's a mirror or a magnet drawing out our hidden tides. A single second can stretch, shimmer, feel like forever a kiss, a realization, a falling star. Time doesn't seem to pass, it expands. But why? Does the mind slow time when something matters deeply, or is time itself more fluid than we think, bending to emotion, memory, or meaning? Perhaps eternity isn't a length of time, but a kind of awareness. Our eyes are tuned to a sliver of light red to violet, and nothing beyond, but outside that slice lies a spectrum we can't imagine. Ultraviolet. Frequencies invisible to us, but real. Could there be entire rainbows glowing in shades beyond human perception? Perhaps the universe wears robes of color we'll never name, brilliant, silent, hidden in plain sight. A melody rises and suddenly, you remember. Not something exact, but a feeling. Music unlocks emotions we thought forgotten. But why? What is it about tone and rhythm that reaches deeper than words? Maybe music is memory without content, a language of the soul that speaks not of facts. The old curd of the language is memory of reset, a language essaying and just among memories. But of truths we always knew, and never knew we knew. We think of stillness as the opposite of movement, yet even when we sit perfectly still, blood flows, breath rises, thoughts drift, and beyond us, the earth turns, stars move. Is there ever true stillness, or is stillness just a kind of motion too slow to see the patient hum beneath becoming? Maybe to be still and move through silence. We chase answers neat, final, clear, but sometimes a question lingers longer than any reply. It stays with us, unfolds, deepens. Why? Could it be that the right question changes us more than the right answer ever could? Maybe questions are not just tools for finding, but portals for feeling, becoming, awakening. What if your life, your joys, fears, memories is part of someone else's dream? Not a metaphor, but a possibility. What if reality as we know it is a projection, and we are not the dreamers, but the dreamed? Would that make our experiences less real or more precious? Maybe we are all dreams dreaming each other. You meet someone and something clicks, a strange comfort, a déjà vu, a deep recognition. Why? Past lives? Shared energy? Perhaps the connections we feel in moments like these come from something ancient beyond time, beyond memory. Maybe we've traveled together before, in places not marked on any map. We think memory is about what's behind us, a record, a trail, but memory also affects how we feel now, who we become, what we believe is possible. Could memory be a kind of map we keep drawing in the present moment? Maybe the past is not what happened, but what we remember and how we carry it. Something happens when we look up, our voices soften. We whisper, not from fear, but reverence. The vastness silences us. Why? Perhaps it's instinct, or maybe, on some level, we know the stars are not distant objects, but ancient companions, and when we gaze at them, we are not looking out, but in. Gravity binds planets and holds galaxies in its arms. But what if it does more? What if gravity is not just force, but memory, remembering every footstep, every falling leaf, every orbit ever taken? Could the curvature of space be a kind of ancient script written in motion? Perhaps gravity doesn't just shape paths, it keeps them. From childhood, we dream of lifting off, of soaring above cities, oceans, clouds. It feels familiar, natural, free. But why? We've never flown unaided. Yet it seems like something we remember. Could it be a memory from another kind of being or another world? Or is flight simply the soul's way of showing us what it means to let go? You say stones don't think, that chairs don't feel. But what if consciousness comes in forms we cannot recognize? What if trees, clouds, even atoms possess some quiet awareness not like ours, but real nonetheless? Maybe the universe is alive in ways our language cannot hold. Maybe we're surrounded by a great, silent intelligence waiting for us to listen. Joy can bring tears just as surely as sorrow. But why would something so light summon something so heavy? Perhaps joy overwhelms us, stretches the heart beyond its edges. Or maybe we cry in joy because it makes us feel something eternal, as if in that moment we touch something too beautiful to hold. We picture time as a line ticking forward, hour by hour. But what if time isn't strict? What if it's soft, fluid, drowsy? In dreams, time stretches or collapses. In memory, it folds. Could time itself be dreaming, wandering through its own ideas of past, present, future? And maybe sometimes we slip inside its dreams. An abandoned house, a crumbled temple. Ah, forgotten rot. Ruins stir something deep, not fear, but reverence. Why? Is it nostalgia? Or do ruins whisper of time's passage in a language older than words? Perhaps they remind us that all things change, fall, return to earth, and in that we hear a quiet promise: nothing is truly lost. We cannot hear the stars, but perhaps they sing, not with sound, but vibration and pulses, in heat, in light. Could every star be a note in a symphony we are too small to hear? Maybe the universe hums with harmony. Maybe silence isn't the absence of music, but the space where the purest music hides. In the dark, the world changes. Shadows stretch, merge, seem to move. Our minds whisper stories, some old, some fearful. But what if those whispers come from something deeper than fear? Maybe night reveals the parts of the world that prefer quiet, shapes that flicker just outside reason. Perhaps shadows aren't just the absence of light, but the presence of something else. We fear death as a wall, a closing door. But what if it's a threshold, not the end of the road, but the road bending home? So many cultures speak of crossing over, of rejoining, of light. Maybe death is not a departure, but a return to something familiar, something we've always known but forgotten how to name. We seek answers, we build knowledge, yet something in us relaxes in mystery, as if it's not confusion, but comfort. Why? Could it be that the unknown isn't a threat, but a calling? That we came from mystery, and to mystery we'll return? Maybe we love mystery because it reminds us of who we truly are. We study stars, atoms, time. But what if, in doing so, the universe is simply looking at its own reflection? What if consciousness, our awareness, our questions is how the cosmos perceives itself? Maybe we're not separate from it at all. Maybe Each thought, each observation is the universe waking up inside itself. We lie beneath stars, humbled by their vastness. We feel tiny and somehow vast. Why could it be that we recognize something of ourselves in the endless dark, that we are made of the same dust, the same fire? Perhaps we feel small because we are part of something huge and infinite, because we are. You walk into a forest clearing, a cave, a quiet hill, and feel it. Peace. Wait. Presence. Even without stories or signs, this place matters. Why? Perhaps the earth remembers things we've forgotten. Perhaps some places hold echoes, old energies, or simply deeper stillness. And maybe we sense what we can't explain. Gravity pulls, magnetism draws, but word of love, it binds two across time, distance, even death. Could love be more than emotion? Something elemental? A field not yet named by physics? Maybe love, like light, bends space. Maybe love, like gravity, holds galaxies together. And hearts. You can have warmth, safety, connection, and still feel an ache. A yearning for what? We can't always name it. Is it longing for purpose, for origin? Or is it the soul remembering something lost before birth, a wholeness we once had and seek again? Maybe this ache isn't lack, but the map home. We think of time as a one-way road, but some physicists suggest it might not be so. Could moments yet to come send signals backward, subtle nudges, intuitions, dreams? Could deja vu, sudden knowing, or gut feeling be echoes from what hasn't happened yet? Perhaps the future isn't waiting, it's already speaking. Long before writing, we told stories around fires, in songs, in dreams, and even now we narrate our days, building meaning, stitching moments into tales. Why? Maybe it's not just habit, but need. Maybe story is how consciousness makes sense of chaos, how we weave a universe out of uncertainty, how we become real. Quantum particles can. They flicker, split, exist in superposition. But what about us? Could a piece of us, a thought, a soul stretch across space and time? Maybe there are versions of you dreaming in other realms, walking other paths, whispering through this one. Maybe we are not as local as we think.